Today we're on location at Beacon Light by the Sea outside the village of Elk, and I'm here with R.D. Beacon. Welcome.
Thank you.
So tell me a little bit, and our audience, a little bit about yourself. How and when did you arrive in Elk?
About 72 years ago. I think I was hatched out from underneath a rock somewhere in a ranch. I don't have a lot of my early history. I was brought up by a single parent and mostly homeschooled. My father was in the ranching business, had a lot of land, a lot of sheep, and I grew up in a ranching environment. Progressed on, got tired of the ranching. When I got to be old enough to go into business, I went in the timber business. That was in 1962, involving myself with the Beacon and Ross Timber Products. Took a good friend and made him a partner, and we ran that operation until about 63. Merged in with Greenwood Lumber Company and built a sawmill south of Elk, and the mill expanded using the timber resources of the Greenwood Ranch Company, which was a business ran by my father.
Mm-hmm.
Early part of 68, my father passed away at 84 years old, and I had more responsibility heaped on my shoulders. I lived here in the building, which is now the bar. It was built as a house in 1966. Every stick of wood in this building, except for the bar surface, is off this property.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the redwood was milled by Union Lumber Company under a special agreement that we had with them. The studs came from our own sawmill. This bar surface came from the Union Lumber Company mill in Fort Bragg. They used to make glue lams for construction, and when Boise Cascade bought out the Johnson's facilities, the Union Lumber Company, Boise did not want the responsibility of being in the glue lam business. They felt redwood was not the material they wanted to involve themselves with. So I bought up a bunch of the glue lams for the bar down there by your feet, and the back bar and the uprights all the way around are all glue lam. The studs were made in my own mill down here that ran from 1962 until December 13th, 68.
And how many acres do you have at the ranch up here?
Right now it's about 6,000 acres.
Great. So how did the bar come into being, Bobby? What made you decide to open a bar on the top of this wonderful vista view?
The short version, I get to drink wholesale, you know.
That's always a good reason.
That's
right?
a good reason. The other reason, I started tending bar down at the Oasis in Elk on the 15th day of January 1962 for Evelyn Baldecki down there. And later on, it was just weekends or odd days. And over the years, things changed. Eventually, she sold out. I had the house here. I was involved with a new marriage. In 70, I got remarried. The new wife didn't really want to live in the old wife's house.
Okay.
And so I had to do something with it. I wasn't going to sell it, even though that was the strong recommendation. So I converted it to a bar and a restaurant. We had a full-service restaurant here and a full-service bar. Gas crunch hit us in 74, and business just kind of took a dive. Bar business was good, but there was nobody going out for dinner.
Right.
So we closed the restaurant down, kept the cocktail lounge. As part of that other part of it, during that period of time, the people at Navarro by the Sea wanted to sell out. And I acquired that premise as well and operated it for a number of years.
Oh.
Till we had a flood and some problems, and then the county wouldn't let us reopen it because it's in a floodplain.
Okay.
So we got out of that, eventually sold the property off, and now it's state parks.
And when is the bar open?
Fridays and Saturdays, 5 to 11.
Okay, and can anyone come and partake?
Anybody can come in here. We have about 75 types of vodka. We have about 10, 12 types of scotch, about 30 types of whiskey, about 35 or 40 types of rum, and 15 types of tequila.
Wow.
So you can
Excellent.
hurt yourself.
You could. Talking of hurting yourself, I noticed on our approach that you have such a wonderful collection of vehicles around your property. And oh my gosh, I think I've seen a school bus. Am I seeing fire trucks out of there and stretch limousines and all sorts of things? Can you tell us about how you've used those in your life?
The fire trucks belong to the Greenwood Ridge Fire Department.
Uh-huh.
It is a 501c3 nonprofit. It's a California corporation. It is mainly, its main job is to protect wildlands. It has bulldozers and transports. It has trucks to support the rolling stock, the heavy rolling stock. If you go to a major fire, you want to have a fire truck in case the fire gets too close to your transport or your dozer.
And how do you raise funds for your fire?
We, the tip jar at the bar, all the tips go to the fire department. He helps pay for fuel and other things. We raise cattle, and there's a little money in the cow business. The school buses, one of them is a full machine shop for the fire department. There's a lathe, milling machine, cut-off saws, and other tools. And so if you break down with heavy equipment, you want to have a way to repair it. You don't want to have to take it somewhere. You know, it's best that way. The other school bus is a communications bus, is used for two-way communications for public safety.
Notice that on the bar you have a loop of wonderful vintage photographs.
Well, I've had a lot of friends that have had photos that needed to be digitized. And I digitize the photos, and in return I get to keep copies.
Right.
And I show them on the Apple computer in the bar, and it gives the tourists kind of a way to look back at times gone by. What we have here in Mendocino County is a unique history. And even though most of the buildings that were scattered out all over these areas here are long gone, we have a few photos so we can look back and kind of gain a perspective of what it really was. If you take the local area town of Elk, it had 3,500 people in its heyday.
Wow.
It had 26 logging camps along the two railroads, up Greenwood Creek, Elk Creek, and into Alder Creek. And they had, in these 26 camps, they had 1,500 people per camp.
Wow.
The train tracks were put in here by the Chinese. They did the blasting. They did it all by hand. It was a great time.
So it was very multicultural then.
Oh, yes. You had the Irish, had the Italians, you had the Danes and Swedes, the Norwegians, Chinese, some Filipinos, not many, American Indians, everybody that came here. Most of them came for work, and they died right here.
So Bobby, do you have future plans?
Well, yes. No retirement. I think retirement is probably getting a reservation for a dirt bed, and I'm not ready yet.
Okay.
I've often thought maybe I'd like to go in the film business. Maybe that's the next one. I don't know. When I was a kid, I was so shy, if you'd say boo, I would go hide for days. And the older I get, the less shy I get.
So you've learned to
I've evolved.
evolve.
And I think that's what life is about, is evolving, moving forward, and trying to help a few people along the way as best you can. We need to also encourage industry to move to this county.
What kind of industries do you think would
Well,
be suitable?
Everybody has a lot of brush and a lot of tree waste left over from logging, and ranchers have a lot of brush. There are regulations in the county now that you can't burn this brush off because they're worried about the particulate matter. But we don't have catastrophic wildfires if we manage our properties, and that means burning this stuff off in the winter. If they won't let us burn it off, then we have to create an industry around it to get rid of it. Ranchers will give this stuff away to clear their land. We don't have any sheep anymore. That used to keep the brush down. So we have to find something needs to evolve from this. All you need to do is chop it down, put it in a container, throw a little yeast with it, and it won't take long that you're going to get a little alcohol.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's just like making booze. We'll just grind up a bunch of old wood and do the same thing. You're getting a biofuel, and you're getting a cellulose product that can be suitable for paper bags.
And have you shared this?
Well, I did a couple of times when they were tearing the masonite plant down, and nobody was interested.
Oh.
They couldn't see enough dollars in it for themselves.
Now, I also know that on occasion, you are people that are here in the bar have the pleasure of hearing you play the piano occasionally. Would you be willing to do that for our audience today?
Well, I'll try. I'm not good at it. I fake it, you know. And what I tell people, if I get them drunk enough, just about anything I play sounds good.
Great. But you also were telling me that playing the piano is something that you're almost self-taught. Is that correct?
Yes. I don't read music, and I don't look at the keys. If I look at the keys, I can't play the piano. I don't know why. I don't question any talent, anything I manage to do. I mainly do it as stress relief. Mm-hmm. Rather than go completely crazy,
right?
Then I go play the piano. And I have probably one of the greater venues to look at a script as anybody. The music I see is in the ocean I look beyond.
Right. So do you devise your own compositions also?
Some of it I steal, or hear something or a part of it. It hops out, you know. I don't ask where things come from. Just kind of roll with the flow.
Uh-huh. Well, Bobby, it has been a delight. Thank you so much for taking time to talk with us.
You're
and
entirely
to
welcome.
Introduce our viewers to the wonderful Beacon Light Bar. And we will see you next time.